How do I do it?
13 minus negative 11.
Okay, and on bottom?
Negative 12 minus 6.
So what do I get in the numerator? What's 13 minus negative 11?
24.
And what's negative 12 minus 6?
Negative 18.
All right, so we're right. Everything's good to this point. This reduces. This reduces. You know what it becomes?
12 over negative 9.
Okay. Now, if it is a positive value and a negative, you don't need to keep the negative in the bottom. You can move it out in front. So now you got negative 12 over 9. All right, that's partially there. It's not all the way because that reduces again. Okay, so you want to take a look. Every time you reduce it, you want to see, can it reduce further? Okay, so Ryan?
Negative 4/3.
Negative 4/3 because 3 will go into 12 and 3 will go into 9. So your final answer needs to be negative 4/3. 24 and 18 are divisible by 2, but you could have divided them by 6. So sometimes you might need to divide it twice, like by 2, take that answer, divide it again. So always double check and say, hey, will that reduce further? Will that reduce further? All right, help me out. How do you do that on your, you know how to do that on your calculator? It does simplify for you. Okay, what's the button?
Second PRV.
All right. Yeah, see where it says, all right, you got the second button, and then you got one over and one down. See where it says PRB? What does it say above it? All right, that's it, PRB. What does it say above it? Yeah, is that it? I don't know if that's the one. I think it's the ABC. Hold on, it might be. So if I got
ABC fractions? Yeah, ABC's fractions.
Yeah, ABC's make fractions. If you had second PRB, fractions.
but we don't want a decimal.
Never mind.
Well, it,
Simplifies the fraction.
in this case here, it simplifies it into negative 1 1/3. Then you could do the second ABC and it'll make it negative 4/3. Okay, so you got different options. You can get there. You can get there on your calculator. Again, do not give me though negative 1 1/3. Do not give me that, okay, at all. All right, we're going to do a couple more here together that are similar to what you're going to see on the practice tests and tests. We did these Friday. I want to hit these again. Or this one. All right, graph the function two different ways. The first way is we're going to use x and y intercepts. Second way, we're going to use a slope and y-intercept. Do I have to get the same line? Yeah, same equation, got to get the same line. So you got to read the directions. You say, all right, well, how do I do this? X and y intercepts or slope and y intercepts? First one is x and y intercepts. So it's kind of, we're going to write down the equation. We're going to do this together. Jeff, do you remember how to find the x-intercept?
Sort of.
Sort of. What's sort of? All right. What's your sort of answer?
Do you make 12 0? 12 equals 0?
Well, you're kind of right. That would get you there, but you're technically letting y equal 0.
That's not right.
That's anyway.
Then you divide 4. You divide 24 by 4.
All right, good. I'm going to slow down and go step by step here. You're right. You let the y equal 0. So you get 4x plus 12 times 0, which is 0. You get 4x equals 24. Divide by 4. X equals 6. You write that as a 0.60. I'll graph it here in a second. Y-intercept. Okay. Mr. Plow.
Mr. Parker not here today?
No, this is him right here.
Hello, Mr. Parker.
We got an upgrade.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Maya, y-intercept. How do I find it? What do you think? Backtrack. Think opposite. If for the x-intercept, what did I let equal 0? No. What's that variable there?
Y.
I let y equal 0. So for the y-intercept, what do you think I'm going to let equal 0?
Or x.
Yep. Let x equal 0. So you take the 4 times 0 plus 12y equals 24. Now that's going to give me 12y equals 24. 4, divide by 12, divide by 12. I get y equals 2, which is a 0.02. All right, now just make an x, y. It doesn't have to be perfect, but make an x, y. I want this graph. So make that on there. Yep, and get your intercepts, your x and y. So 6, 0. And then 0, 2. And this is all you have to graph. That's it for this one here. Make sure when you draw your line that you put arrows on it. Got to do that. Okay, because it keeps going. It doesn't stop at those 2 points. In this case here, it goes all the way through. X plus. All right. While you do the second one here, I'm gonna come around just see what you got. What do I gotta do first? Ava.
Subtract 4x on both sides.
And what's your final goal? I maybe didn't word it correctly.
Get y by itself.
Get y by itself. I want you to get y by itself for this one. Take a look. Okay, for that. To get y by itself. Okay, we want to write this, or we want to write negative 4x plus 24. First of all, we want to write that as and put 12y equals. Now, is y by itself?
Yeah.
Oh. How do I get rid of that 12?
Subtract it.
Now subtract. Divide each piece by 12. Okay. All right, get y by itself. Okay, there you go. Abby? Ellie? Don't forget there's an x there. And negative 4 over 12 reduces. So you would not, that would, just write it underneath it. You don't need to erase it. Just write it underneath it. Where's the x? Make sure there's an x there. Okay. Okay, good. That's 4 over 12, not 12 over 4. 12 over 4 is 3. That's going to be a fraction. Okay, what do you got? Yes. What do you got? What do you got? Ooh, wait a minute. This is way too bad. All right. You don't want to divide by 4. You want to subtract 4. Subtract 4. Jeff, what you got?
Nothing.
Nothing? Come on. Don't let it know. Get ready. What you got? Okay, 2, 6 reduces.
Yeah,
6
the
reduces. Okay, but actually make sure you write it like that as well. All right, good. And, all right. Hey, excellent. All right, good. Don't get the X. Okay, I see. All right. See a lot of good things here. Subtract 4x. Subtract 4x. And you get 12y equals negative 4x plus 24. We want to write that x part first. I said that to a few of you. Just because we wanted that y equals mx plus b form. So now 12y, I divide by 12. And make sure you take a look. And they simplify. So if you do 4, if you take your calculator and you do negative 4 divided by 12, we don't want any fractions or any decimals, for that x value. So it gives me a decimal. I can't write it. So you just look to reduce it. And like I said, most of you did that. 4 over 12 reduces to negative 1/3, don't forget the x, plus 2. Now, when you graph this, you have got to use the slope and the y-intercept. I'm just going to go back up here to this graph and show you it's going to be the same. You would do this on two separate graphs normally. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 2. Does that line have a negative slope? Is it going downhill? Juan, what's my y-intercept for this one? 2. You can write 2 or 0, 2. Juan, what's my slope? Negative 1/3. So that means you start at 0, 2 for this one. To get to the next point, the 1 means you go up or down. The 3 means you go left or right. So I can go down 1, and then I go 1, 2, 3 to the right, and that's got to hit right on that line. And then I go down 1, and I go 3 to the right, it hits again. Down 1, I go 3 to the right. And then I can go up 1, but this time I got to go to the left. So I got to have the same line as before. Same line as before. Okay. All right, now a few of you had some questions on the other ones, and I'm going to get to those in a minute. So why don't you give each table one of these. Alex, I want to have you scoot back. Maddie, you scoot up. Take all your stuff. Because you two can work on a practice test if you want to do practice. So you guys can work on a practice test. Don't get it. All right, I'm going to hand out the answer key to the practice test. You're going to go through it now. Kind of grade your own. Hey, I want you to think, what kind of grade did I get? And then there's a couple of them that I need to highlight and we'll go over. Just kind of review those together. So you're going to take about, 5 to 10 minutes doing it. And I want you to take it seriously.
Oh, you just got that right.
All right, so you just work on it. You just work on it. Yeah, do one more. And you'll take those to the next class and you'll see what's solved. All right. What'd you say?
So it just basically goes back to when it asks for the slope of the y-intercept, you gotta get y by itself. Okay. Now, once I fix that, does that make sense? Now, you get it like you always take a different number from the y, and that's the last thing you do is divide by that. And that's what you do. So, we're kind of at doing all this ground now. Get to that y.
Anything that you missed, you need to fix. You need to fix. Alex, I got extra ones. You can fix one. All right, and now Mr. Sensor can help you as well. He's got skills. And then we'll go over a few of them. We're actually going to go over the last 3. 13, 14, and 15. And then we'll kind of go backwards from there. All right, where you guys at? Okay, come on.
I forgot about that.
What did you forget about?
I forgot like all of these. Like I forgot how to do all of these.
Number 7?
Yeah.
Oh, what did you do?
I don't even know.
All right, you plug in. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Mr. Duet, I did it completely wrong there, and then I'm looking at it, and I did it on here, and I did it, which was correct, but I just forgot to add it. And, yeah. So it's, okay, but that's, I don't have a lot of correct, because I don't know why I'm so bad, so I figured it out.
Okay. Well, you have to have that match for the estimate. We'll do that way. Probably gonna end up. Normally, somehow you make sure you, but
This is what I would need to see. That would be good.
So what I call that as correct as I'm like.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you would see.
Okay. Make sure your answers match up. Alright, checking them? Okay. Hey, I will, put the answer key on Canvas so that you can look that over.
I just need your.
Yeah, and that's how you get this.
I did miss that.
Oh, does that make sense? Yep.
That's what we need. So technically, it would be technically semi got it. I was a teacher. I was so confused.
Okay, look at there, you go. That should be negative, it's 2 minus negative.
When I grow up, so what is it like how?
The actual.
I think that you should be able to put what you are wanting to do, like, based on therefore, you do classes for what you want to do. This has nothing to do with well, technically it does, but yeah, you don't look at a piece of wood, like, what is this? You know? I think I tried it. Yeah.
Do that now.
I don't even think I did it. No, I
You don't have to.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, I miss it. No, I got it. I'm already science one. Science one.
So if I that's a thing.
You don't want
These have to, you gotta check.
It's like happy. It's like, okay, it's like
What'd you miss? Alright, if you're still checking, that's fine. I'm gonna go through a few things just because I know you struggled on them earlier. And I'm gonna start at the end. I'm gonna start with the last three. And make sure, this is a big test in terms of explain. A lot of the questions say explain. And you gotta look what I have down and does what you have down match that? Because if you got the wrong thing, like you can get the answer, but you still have to have that explain part. So you got a budget of $240 to order shirts for the math club. The equation 8x plus 12y equals 240 models the total cost. All right, X is short sleeved, so you should have down here short sleeved. Y is long sleeved. So I got that marked. We got to graph the function, find its intercept. It might even be better to word it in reverse and say find the intercepts and then graph the function, but we're going to graph it using intercepts. So I got to find them. Well, we've been doing that. This is 8x plus 12y equals 240. And so if I find the x-intercept, I let y equal 0. Well, that's going to cancel that whole thing out. So I'm just to save a little bit of time. I'm just going to say 8x equals 240. Divide by 8, and we get x equals 30. Correct? Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So that's 30. 30 comma 0. Y-intercept. Let x equal 0. And then that's just going to give me 12y equals 240. Divide by 12. Y equals 20. So that is going to be 0.20. Now look what I've written down for my, I got it highlighted there. What does each intercept represent? Look what I have written down. Okay, 30 comma 0 is my x-intercept. Well, what does it say on our paper, Zach? What does that represent?
You can buy 30 short sleeve shirts, you can buy 0 long sleeve.
And I need you to incorporate both numbers, the 30 and the 0. So 30 long, or did you say, I think you said short sleeve.
Yeah.
30 short sleeve shirts if you buy 0 long sleeve. And then the 0.20 means you can buy, if you buy 0 short sleeve, you can buy 20 long sleeve. And then you got to make a scale on here. What did I go? But did I go by 3s on the bottom, or did I go by, what's it?
Yeah.
Can you tell? I went by 3s. So it went 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. And then I went up by, what did I go up by on the top? 2s or 4? Well, every line was 2, but I marked it 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And then that one you can just stop. That one does not need arrows because you cannot have a negative number of shirts, short sleeve or long sleeve shirts. But you got to make sure you have that explanation. You got to incorporate both pieces of the x-intercept and y-intercept, 30, 0, and 0, 20. Okay. For 14, find the slope of the line and describe what the slope represents. Now, some of these directions aren't going to be on here. I did it for the practice test. Like reduce your slope. That is just a reminder. That's not going to be on the test. You need to know that. Okay, so that's always the case. Well, you take those 2 points, 421, 213, and my slope depends on what order you go. If I do 21 minus 13 and I do 4 minus 2, I get 8 over 2. And I said reduce it. Well, what's 8 over 2 become? Just what? Just 4. You can write it as 4 or 4 over 1. All right, what does it represent? You got to tell me in terms of this little graphic and this number, what does the 4 mean and what does the 1 mean? Okay, so if you look at my explanation, okay, what does it say there? The toy car is traveling at a rate of what? 4 feet per 1 second. I didn't write the number 1 in it, but that's what that means. 4 feet per second. All right, think about this. What if I came down with an answer of 5 over 2 for this same problem? What would you say? What would you interpret that to be? 5 over 2. The car is traveling at a rate of 5 feet every 2 seconds. That's what that means. Okay, so 4 feet every 1 second. Incorporate both numbers. Incorporate both numbers. For this A1, identify the slope and y-intercept, then graph the line. That's actually already in nice form. Okay, Jeff, what's my slope for this A?
Is it 4?
Slope is always the number with the x.
That's 2/3 one? No, 3's half.
3 halves, and it's negative 3 halves. The y-intercept is always the number, so that's 0.4. So now you would go to 0.4, put a dot, and I would go down 3 and to the right 2 to make sure I get a negative slope. Okay, down 3 to the right 2. So that one, there's no work to do to find the slope and y-intercept. It's right there. For B, there is a little bit of work. This is where you got to get the y by itself. This is where you have got to know the difference between do I do the intercepts or do the slope. This one I got to do the slope. If you look at my work, I subtract 6x. Don't forget this negative goes with the 2y. I get negative 6x plus 4. Divide by negative 2. Now, again, you got to watch your signs. Negative 6 divided by negative 2. Positive what? 3. So that's 3x. 4 divided by negative 2 is a negative 2. That should be my equation. You got to come up with that. Now from there, I graph it. What's my slope, Zach?
3 over 1.
Good, 3 over 1. And it's positive, so a positive line is going uphill. What's my y-intercept? Okay, as I take a look at that. Emily, what's my y-intercept? What's my y-intercept for that equation?
-2.
Yep, 0, -2. So I go to -2, put a dot, and then I go up 3, and then I go to the right to make sure I get a positive slope. Okay, so for that. All right, I want to make sure I cover those 3. All right, you got all the answers in front of you. That doesn't mean you don't have questions. All right, what questions do you have on any other problems? Okay, from the front. Make sure, number 3, independent versus dependent. The temperature, the amount of electricity depends upon the temperature. Higher the temperature, you're going to use more. Temperature is the independent. Amount of electricity used would be dependent. All right, for number 4, I need to see this on the test for you to get full credit. When it's asking if it's linear or nonlinear. Okay, you need to show this as well as use the explanation. Now remember, I actually screwed up on that, and remember we changed it. So those of you who I gave it to you today, hopefully that didn't confuse you too much. It should have been 50 plus 15x. All right, questions? All right, I will put this on the answer key on Canvas. It will be part of today's lesson. Okay, so you can use that as a guide. Redo any question you missed. Mr. Schitzer, collect these up. Take them with you to Mr. West. You got a pink sheet that Mr. Schitzer has. Tomorrow, you got the period. You don't get extra time unless it's on an IEP.